Hello, Indie fam and Positivity Posse. I'm Victor Brooks, and welcome back to the Victor Brooks Show, Instagram Indie Fam series. Thank y'all. Y'all come on in here. Thank you for always taking your time when you can, to join us live Sunday, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, same as New York. And everyone that's able to watch live, thank you so much. We know Sundays, especially now with the football season starting, is crazy. You can't say I can dedicate that time to come on Sunday. But for our larger audience who's watching on the recorded, and we equally thank you for taking your time to watch these episodes of these incredible independent artists and artistry itself. We talk about the artist and their journey, what their artistry means to them. Why is artistry important for them and for the world? I see you lining up. Who do we have here? My goodness. Maria Curry, muito obrigado, Maria. Minha amiga de Carioca de Rio de Janeiro. Muito obrigado. Wade 3, speaking of independent artistry, much love and much respect to Wade Durham. Follow Wade 3, ladies and gentlemen. And if he's performing live in your area, do yourself a favor and go get waded up. Can you dig it? I'm talking about a man who is seasoned in his artistry. He's been giving art and music to the world for decades. And he ain't stopping yet. Much love and much respect to Wade Durham and his artistry. Virginia, thank you for joining us. Who else do we have here joining us today? Kyle Campbell, thank you, Kyle. Tom SWFC, thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk to TC, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the UK. We're in the pond today. We had a previous guest who joined us from the pond, from England, Peterborough, England, earlier today. But we have TC, Tim Cavanagh, TC of TC and the Hoodoo Shakers. We'll be talking to TC and getting to know TC today. Waldo, thank you, Waldo37, for joining in for this conversation with TC today. 17 at 7, my sister, my friend Astrid from Saint-Denis, France. Astrid, thank you for everything you're doing there in France and Europe, for the preservation of artistry, the presentation of the artist and their artistry. Much love and much respect, Astrid. And Toto's, ladies and gentlemen, T-O-T-O. Let me tell you something. Toto's new album is just an incredible piece of work. When you have time, look at my story. Here at Instagram Stories. See there on Spotify, click that, go download, and join into the funk, the international positivity that Brother Toto is giving us there from Luanda, giving us to there. Who else do we have here? Armando, thank you so much. Muito obrigado, Armando. Muito obrigado. Viviane, muito obrigado, Viviana, por seu tempo hoje. Muito obrigado. We have Brazil here. We have France here. We have Raleigh, North Carolina here. I saw Chicago in the house. Y'all, come on. This is what it's all about. And I want to get right into this conversation. But before I do, I have to give a shout out to my brothers and I mean, just the Whispers, the Mighty Whispers. Let me tell you something, y'all. The Mighty Whispers had just released a re-recording of their classic hit, And the Beat Goes On. The Whispers, the Mighty Whispers here, as we all love and know, but that's who you follow here at Instagram as well. The Mighty Whispers. Mighty Whispers, as you know, their classic hit, And the Beat Goes On, they re-recorded, check this out, re-recorded and re-released their classic And the Beat Goes On, the radio edit version. Go get it. Go check it out. If you love the first one, you're going to keep on loving the re-recording of And the Beat Goes On, because they ain't missed a beat. That's why this beat's going on. Can you dig it? And on the 23rd, the dance version of the re-recorded And the Beat Goes On. And they're going to keep it coming to you with the other classics. that they have of a re-recording project that the Mighty Whispers are giving us, y'all. Go do it. Go do it. Much love and much respect to the Whispers, y'all. Much love and much respect. UK in the house, Scoff One. Come on, UK. Gotcha. Y'all showing up. Show up. That's right. That's right. Just Simply Brooke. Hey, cousin. What's happening, girl? Much love and much respect. My baby Cheryl Sinner. Hey, hey. Much love and much respect. Who else do we have? Paint the Piano Purple, one of our first indie fan guests. Paint the Piano Purple, Mikkel. Paint the Piano Purple is Mikkel's Instagram page. When you talk about original artistry, artistry from the heart, artistry that's purely from this artist, it's Paint the Piano Purple's page. Mikkel from Los Angeles, California. Much love to you, sister. Y'all, here we go. We're going to get into this conversation. I'm going to see if I can bring our guest, TC, Tim Cavanagh, TC of the TC and the Hoodoo Shakers. And we're going to try to get this conversation going, y'all. Thank you, world. Thank you for showing up today. TC, hey. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. We finally did it. We're connected on the video, right?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Right on, man. You too. You too. As I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, when Victor Brooks scrolls through on the Instagram or Facebook and an artistry hits me, I got to scroll back because I just felt something. I just heard something. That's how I learned to love and respect TC Cavanagh, TC and the Hoodoo Shakers, because when I tell you it's some pure rock, funk, blues that jumped across there, brother TC, take us back, man. How did blues and rock get so into your soul like it is, man?
So growing up, my mum was a big rock and roller. She was a rock and roll fan. So I heard stuff like Chuck Berry, Gene Vincent, Eddie Cochran, Fats Domino, all them cats, Little Richard, which I will be asking you about.
You got it, brother. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, Elvis, obviously. Yeah, so that's what she kind of like. She kind of had these compilation tapes and CDs, because when I grew up, kind of like in sort of mid to late 80s, going into 90s, it were all tape and CDs were coming in. So the vinyl were hidden. And she just used to play these compilations of rock and roll acts, you know, and that's what I were hearing growing up, really, and it just hit me straight away.
Yeah, yeah. And so how old are we talking when you first picked up that well, let's not even before you picked up the guitar, when you knew that artistry was speaking to you? How old were you when you had this thing about art?
Yeah, so I remember the first thing I did was I was listening to all these people that my mum were playing, you know, Buddy Holly and all these guys. And my uncle had a guitar, and it was like a classical guitar, you know, nylon strings. And I started showing interest in wanting to learn to play. I was probably about 13-year-old, something like that. And he said, right, you can have that. And he showed me a couple of chords. And the first song I learned to play was Peggy Sue, which I'm sure is the first song for a lot of people.
Gotcha.
And he was a rock and roller as well. He was a bit of a teddy boy back in the day. He gave me that. I think I was about 12, 13, and started playing. But I found my dad's record collection. The vinyl was something that was hidden away. It was in a cupboard. And because it was all tape and CDs, so like I found the secret stash.
Wow!
And in there was 2 records that really stood out. Actually, 3. There was Everly Brothers, and there was 2 Beatles albums. There was Help and Beatles for Sale, I think it were, and we started playing them. Me and my brother were putting them on, and it just was like another world. It was just, from hearing the rock and roll stuff to hearing the Beatles, was you could see everything that they were doing and where they got it from. Gotcha. And they always did covers as well. They on them albums, there's what is it? There's Dizzy Miss Lizzie on Help, which is a rock and roll classic. Right. And on Beatles for Sale, there's tons of covers, the Kansas City and stuff like that. And that's the stuff that jumped out at me even then from Beatles. It was like, the rock and roll shuffle kind of stuff was what actually got my blood boiling. It got me interested.
Oh, yeah, man. At that age of, I think some people say preteen or right there at 11, 12, 13 years old. Did you grow up in I know you mentioned your father, but did you connect also and your uncle? You mentioned your uncle too. Well, did you, like brothers and sisters, you guys sit down and jam with each other? Did you get a chance to to kick it with uncle as well and all of that? Or?
That's a very good question. So it's a very complicated family. Okay. So my uncle, big family falling out. So he told me a few chords, and then that's kind of last I ever saw of him. Gotcha. My dad was a drummer.
Right on.
I ended up in a couple of bands with him down the line as I was getting, late teens and stuff, because he was in a few club acts, if you like. I know there will be a bit of difference in the culture between mine and yours. Over here, we have working men's clubs, and it's all about bingo and pie and peas, and there's a turn on, right? So every on a Friday, Saturday night they have an act on, and then there's a break for bingo and pie and peas, and I ended up in one of them bands with my dad for a bit. And I hated that. So that came to it.
You hated that? You hated it? Okay.
Weren't my cup of tea, that.
I got you, brother. But that's where you were able to get your feet wet, right? I mean, the whole performing live, then performing with a band itself and all of that. What at that young age, man, what can you take away and say, you know what? I kind of learned that from that at that young age,
Definitely, there was showmanship. I think is the main thing in that world. You had to get an audience's attention, and that I think that's the main thing that you can take from that is showmanship. Just getting attention, which I'm not a big fan of, but you have to do it, don't you?
You say that again, brother.
I'm not a big fan of getting attention, but you have to do it. You have to.
I got you, man. I don't. You know what? I didn't know until I was maybe about high school of that they labeled me an introvert. I knew how I felt, and I knew I had to be in the mood to be around and talk and because I get drained and then I got to go by myself and get my people meter back up. You dig, and then get back into it. But then that whole thing of later learned I'm an ambivert, where I got a little of both right together, and where it's there. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And
but for you, does the stage, when you get on stage, that's when the extrovert comes out?
Yeah.
But getting on the stage is the problem, isn't it?
That's it.
Getting there is the
That's right. Even to this day, for me. Right before, I don't care, those first 5 to 10 minutes, I got to get it together, man, So tell me about, what is your thing, TC, before I get into the Hood Shakers, man, because the Hoodoo Shakers, because that's a great name for a lot of different reasons. Me growing up, Memphis, Tennessee, you see Watt Stacks behind me, and all of that whole feeling of, once again, the blues, the soul because to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but when I listen to your music and your work, TC, it has a lot of different components that makes it, in my feeling, an original vibe, to the point of I'm feeling soul, I'm feeling rock and roll old school, I'm feeling rock and roll itself, right? And I'm feeling what I consider now TC as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
mix, how would you explain your musical style? What's your artistry, brother?
Um, I genuinely think that's one of the hardest questions anybody can answer, because we've all got so many inspirations. Like for me, you know, the major inspirations is the Beatles and Bob Dylan and Elvis and Chuck Berry and stuff. Um, but I don't necessarily want to sound anything like the Beatles. They inspired me in so many ways. But I kind of I looked at them and I thought, like that's hard. What
Yeah,
they're doing is
yeah,
difficult.
gotcha, gotcha.
And then you kind of, without sound, this sounds a bit bad, but you'd see other bands like I'm not comparing myself to any of these great people, by the way,
I
but
got
you saw Rolling Stones and you saw bands like that, and you thought, actually, that's doable. Like the their take on stuff is more manageable than Sergeant Pepper's. You know what I mean. And where I think I sit in things is just at heart a rock and roller. Yeah, I love rock and roll. 50s rock and roll music is what I love. Um, but I also love bands like AC/DC, and I
yeah.
like it when it gets a little bit dirtier. I
Right,
like
right,
that.
right, right.
And some bands that inspire what I want to sound like, I would say I'm not actually a massive fan of. Like some modern bands like Royal Blood or Black Keys and things like that. I love their sounds, and I like to try and sort of take elements of their sound to try and put it into mine. And as like I say, I'm not a massive fan. I could count on
Yeah,
two fingers the songs I know of theirs, but um, it's a sound that came across, and it's that dirty blues kind of stuff. I like that grit, as we call it. So it's hard to say to put your sound down into a
you're
yeah.
right. You're right.
It's a mixture of everything that you
Yeah,
listen to, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
And it's a
yeah.
very hard question.
And you know what? And you know what, brother? I can dig it and respect that, because like when I was setting up the question, that's the only way I could ask, was that I was feeling a mixture
Yeah,
of
yeah,
different things, that when I heard your music and your presentation, but even in the mixture of it, I feel and hear your take on it,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is what I respect a lot. That's what really pulled me in to want to know more about TC and your journey, because it's the way you hit your chord. It's the way that you may let that pause for about 3 seconds before you go back into that major again, or you hit that again, So it's
yeah,
like, that's a style,
yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah. I hope so. Yeah, yeah,
well, as I get a lot of emails, TC, from our other family members, our indie family members, some who have been on the indie grind for a long time, and others who are just starting. I even get emails and conversations, which I love, since we've started this, of artists who say, I've always wanted to do it, but I've been afraid to do it. I've always wanted to do it because I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I had what others had.
yeah.
What advice can you give your indie family members right now about that feeling of, I'm not good enough? My artistry is not good enough to put out there.
Um, just drink more. That's my advice.
Right
I'm
on.
joking. I'm
Okay, right
joking.
on. Hey,
Don't take my advice.
right?
Yeah. So the main thing is what you've got to get over, and
Yeah,
I've struggled with this my entire life, is nerves and thinking you're not good enough and stuff
got you,
like that.
brother.
But you know, you've got to look at it like every choice is a chance.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've already learned to walk, so now you've got to learn to dance. Yeah. And you got to make decisions from the heart. Your mind will tell you not to do stuff, right? But do it anyway. That's the best advice, is do it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? People might not like you. Yeah. You'll never meet them people if they don't like you. It don't matter, does it? It really don't matter. You've just got to make yourself happy. And if you want to try going down a certain road, do it. There's only you stopping you from doing it. And you've got to take that leap and do it. And it might not work out, but at least you're not going to live with any regrets. You're not going to sit there going, I wish I did that.
Yes.
Yes. That's it. Just, follow your heart, man. And that's what the first song's about, Calling of the Blood. It's called that because basically it's about following your heart and doing what you think is your calling, you know.
Right.
I might be wrong. there might be people out there that think I'm wrong.
Got you, brother. Hey, but you know what? That feeds you, right, TC? That feeds you your artistry, right, brother? Because, I mean, when you say, man, I can remember, and TC, I got to tell you, man, like I thought, you a real one, man. You come from the heart, you know? And I knew it from the music. I said, yeah, this cat, he's playing from the heart, man, you know? And, but when you gave your explanation about just do it, you know, and just make it what you want to make it, or say what you want to say. And that's the advice, in essence, that I give to others, because I can remember, man, growing up, you know, and getting my artistry together. It doesn't matter who was in my life, or the names or whatever. It doesn't matter, because it boiled down to how I felt about myself. You know, what I could do or what I didn't think I could do, or I hear somebody else sing and I'm like, wow. Yeah. Now, give it to them.
That's the main thing for me, is that I know I try and be as honest as possible, and if I had a voice like yours, I'd be singing all the time, everywhere I go.
Thank you, sir.
But I haven't. So I have to pick my places, and like I'm aware I'm not a very good singer, but it's quite raw, and I think it's, you know, you either like it or you don't, and I try my best with it, but I'm not a great singer. But there's two sides to the way I sing. So like when I'm with the band and it's a full rock and roll, this thing happens where I don't know, that it took me a long time to find my live kind of full band voice, but it was because I was always holding back. And then one particular day when I didn't hold back, this thing happened, and it was very kind of gritty and quite raucous. And that's what I sing like with the band. But when I'm sat with an acoustic guitar, I don't sing like that. I'm much more quiet and reserved. And I do have to work on that. You know, I write songs in particular keys because they fit me better. You know, I'm sure you can sing in many, many more keys than I can. What's your range? I mean, are you quite broad?
You know, for me, man, at 57, the range is kind of coming like, it's starting to meet the middle a little bit, but but I mean, you know, the tenor thing, you know, that's my thing. And and sometimes, like you just mentioned, man, it's something about that whole thing that, hey, artists, y'all understand, because I see your heart's going up and your thumbs going up. I see you. So you dig what we're talking about. People are saying, great talk. This is what it's about, because this format. We're artists. We're talking to each other, you know, and everybody's listening. But my thing is, there's a time when I may get into a performance, and there have been times when I've done an impromptu thing, TC, and the band has pitched it too high.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, before the days when I knew I could just, hey, let's stop that again and get it back, you know, whatever. But you go with it. and I didn't, it blew my mind about the notes we could hit in that moment, or the things as an artist we can do in that moment. That you just mentioned. You said, you know, there's a time when you're hitting that full rock thing, and that you said it surprised you when that grittiness came out one day. You know, that was something that you that you said, oh wow, I can put this into my TC-ness, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what happened, and it's making yourself be confident enough to start the performance like that, not get 3 songs in and then decide to belt out what you're hiding. It's kind of like I had to learn to the first chord, you've got to belt it out like you mean it. Like, you know, you start as you end. And yeah, that was always difficult. And I had some, you know, some moments where I didn't want to do it anymore, you know, because I've been doing this for the independent, you know, original music thing for a long time. And
much respect, man, for a long time. Wait. I got to put a respect pin in that one. You know what? You know what? Because this is what it's about too, man. It's about, hey, y'all, check it out. TC, our guest, our new brother TC, just gave us today. He didn't put a time frame on it. He didn't have to. He gave us what we understand. He said he's been doing this original writing, performing thing a long time. Keep on keeping on, y'all. Keep on keeping on. And you know, when you send the emails, Indie Fam and Positivity Posse, and you ask those questions about, you know, I'm going to give this 2 months, or if this doesn't last in 6 months, should I keep on keeping on? And I add those questions to our conversations like TC just has given us today. And TC put it where it needed to be, y'all. He's been doing it a long time. Keep on keeping on, y'all. What kept you keeping on? What kept you going, or what keeps you going, T?
So, I mean, for first off, it's just you can't stop. If it's something that, you know, see, the way I write songs is I don't sit down and try to write songs. I pick up my guitar hoping that something will come, but I don't sit down and write a song. I can't do that. I respect people that can just, you know, decide to, I want to write a song about whatever, you know, clouds, and they'll just write a song. You know, that's great, but for me, it doesn't happen like that. So like when I pick a guitar up, it within a couple of, I'd say within 30 seconds to a minute, I know if something's going to happen or not. And if it doesn't, I just kick out a few chords of a song I like, you know, it might be an AC, Highway to Hell or something. And then I put my guitar down and I walk away from it. If something's going to come, it generally happens within that first minute. And, you know, a chord progression will come and a lyric will come relatively quick. And I won't really know what that's about, the song. So every time I pick up my guitar and something like that does happen, it makes me want to carry on and do it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just happening. It's not like, you know, it's not like I'm forcing the songs to come because I want to do it. They happen, and it's kind of like, well, then I want to show people them, you know. I want to show what I've done. So it just happens. It's just a snowball. I think you just love it and you just carry on because selfishly you want to.
You want to. That's right. And you know what? And as artists, man, I think that there's a misunderstood humbleness that we have for our own self, that even those who may present it as an over-the-top humble, they're the most, you know, narcissistic. But I believe if you're an artist, there is a type of a vulnerability and humbleness that we have when we are in our alone times, like you just mentioned, right? It's like, and that's where those questions could come from, those artists that say, am I good enough? Or like you said, those are the times I believe, and like you said, those in that first minute or two, it's feeding me. This chord progression I'm digging. This is feeding me, you know, that humbleness of, are you proud of yourself, TC?
That's a good question. I am, yeah. There's certain things I'm not proud of myself
Me
about,
too.
but
Me too.
yeah, we've all got
Me
that, I
too.
suppose.
Right.
There's always a grey area, isn't
Got you, brother.
there?
Right.
But yeah, generally I am.
Right.
I know I could have become a better guitarist. I could have become better. You know, I'm pretty average on about 6 instruments. You know what I mean? But I could have probably become better. So there's stuff I'm disappointed with. But in general, I'm quite proud of what I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm
Right.
proud of what I'm putting out. You know, I wouldn't be putting it out if I weren't
Yes.
happy with it.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. But then, like, you know, I'll do these little acoustic songs on Instagram or whatever, just to,
Yeah.
you know, just basically just to put it on the line. You know, lay
Gotcha,
it all on
man.
the line and see what
Yes.
happens. And sometimes you put them out and you think, oh, that wasn't too bad, and then you look back at it and you think, oh man, why did I do that? But that's part of it, you know. I believe now, at the age I am and how long I've been doing it, it's kind of like I'm just putting it out because why am I holding it back? If people don't like it, they don't have to like and follow, do they?
Go ahead, TC. That's right.
So,
That's right. That's right, man. Oh, TC, you feeding me today, brother. And
good.
and we thank you for your honesty, man. We thank you for giving us your insight of your TC-ness is what I'm gonna call it. You know?
Fair enough. You might start an hashtag that.
There you go. So give
Yeah.
us the story on the Hoodoo Shakers, brother. To tell us about the band and the backstory of that coming together.
Okay, man. So what it was, um, I was in a band called Cavanagh. Before that, I was in a band called Roaming Sun, right? And we did quite well around Sheffield, got a decent following. Um, and then we kind of disbanded and we rebuilt it. And we rebuilt it as another band called the Calm Sonics. And we did, I think, we 2 or 3 gigs as that band, and then COVID hit. So we are, I didn't want to talk about COVID, but
I got
it
you, man.
can't be. You've got to do it,
It
and
can't be
it
denied. That's
happened,
right.
didn't it?
That's right.
So it kind of put a stop to everything. And I've got a daughter who's got a lot of health problems, and she was on the extremely vulnerable list. So it kind
Okay.
of put a stop to the band. And
Yeah.
even when things were getting a little bit, you know, bit more freedom, and you know, the guys who wanted to rehearse and stuff, I didn't feel comfortable doing it. You know, being trapped in a room with, you know, sweat and singing at
Yeah.
each other and
Right.
spitting everywhere. So I just thought, look, I didn't want to hold them back.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, let's cut a long story short. That kind of ended, and then it was we were just doing nothing for a
Yeah.
while, and I started missing it massively. The playing live, and um, as the COVID lockdowns were happening, I couldn't stop writing. That was just still happening. And then it was like, well, what do I do now? Because I haven't got a band. So I've got all these songs. I might go solo. So I thought, right, I'll do it under kind of like a pseudonym or whatever. And just call myself TC and the Hoodoo Shakers and just put music out. So I got some friends in to record. I went in studio, and the
Wow.
deal was that these friends were just going to come in, and I was just going to get random friends to play on these recordings, and I was going to just release them myself. But once we'd recorded, some of the guys that were on them recordings, like, turned around to me and said, "We've got to take this live. You know, like we need to play these to people." And then I just ended up, the band just happened without me really trying. They kind of wanted to be involved in it more than just on the record. So we've been rehearsing, and that's what I'm a bit sore in the throat because I've been rehearsing all day. So I've been screaming down a microphone all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we've got his first gig in November. So we haven't played live yet. I've put I'm on to the third single gets released on the 16th of September.
Okay.
To plug that.
All right. Yeah.
And then we're rehearsing for the first gig, which hopefully will go smoothly.
What are the names of the Hoodoo Shakers? We want to give shout out, man. Who are the Hoodoo Shakers?
So we've got Mark Shaw on drums, Colin Sutton on bass, and Barry Hay on guitar, obviously me. But then we've got on the recordings, we've got Joel White on keys, got Neve Cavanagh on backing vocals, which she's absolutely amazing. She's just stunning singer. So that's the guys really. And all great people, and they're all doing their own thing as well. Everybody's got their fingers in a few pies, and just we've all been doing it a long time, and you can't stop. It's the calling of the blood, and that is why we do it.
Now, you know what? Let me tell you something. You mentioned to us about the third single. Are you releasing your project single by single? Are you doing release? Because we want to know how to follow. Where do we download it? Every time it comes out, we want to support the download. So how do we do that?
Yeah, so I've decided to do single by single, just release pretty much a song a month. Really, is the initial plan. Whether that schedule changes, it might do, depending on funds and time and things like that. But the idea was to release a single pretty much every month or every 2 months, and not really go down the route of an album, because if I released an album, I could put that on Spotify and on all the other streaming platforms and promote that for a week or 2 weeks, and then you kind of fade out a little bit, like as in, well, what else have I got to promote? If that's not going the way I want it to go, I've got nothing else to push. So I decided to kind of leak the songs just constantly. So I've always got something to tell people about, you know.
Come on, T. That is out of sight, man. And when you look back, you'll see some people say, hey, very good stroke. That's just thread. It's 17-7 over in France. Very good strategy. That's right. I mean, right on, man. Because that way you're able to put out what you want when you want. And at the end of the day, who's to say that, okay, if I put out 3 months, I put out a single every week. Okay, I got that many. If I want to just do a full compilation album, here you go. You know?
Exactly. You can. And what I did was, so I put them out as singles on all these streaming platforms, Spotify, etc. And then I did a limited run of CDs. So as an EP, but it was available to kind of anybody that wanted the singles early. And if you're old school, some people kind of like the CD and having a physical copy. So I did some CDs with the first 3 singles on, so people could buy them early, and you know, some people did. And that once they've gone. You know, they'll never be redone. So that's kind of like a little special thing that people can have. And we'll see what happens.
So you have 3 out now. You have The Blood was the first, right? So what do we have out that we can go get now?
So we've got Calling of the Blood is the first single, then She the Devil is the second single, and then out on the 16th is a song called It's a Long Way Back, when you know you're a sinner.
Okay, all right.
So that's the third one, and then we'll see after that. I haven't decided yet.
Gotcha. There you go, man. And that's the beauty of being able to do what you want when you want as well. How does because like I mentioned, okay, me as a dinosaur in this industry, I'm back from the days of the 80s, and you know, when you put your, like, you were giving me flashback as you were going, because I'm from the days of, okay, let's if one of us were writing a song, if we weren't doing a cover, somebody would have to write it. Then we'd have to find a place to get together and jam it. So we'd either have a garage or a basement, because at that time we couldn't afford a rehearsal studio. So we'd get somewhere where we can plug in and work out that original tune. But then after that, we have to record it. So that's another waiting period if you didn't, like you say, have the funds. Yeah. So then we had to get that together. And once it was recorded, then we had to we had to pay somebody to produce it. We had to pay somebody to edit it. You had to pay an engineer. You had to pay. So once again, that process was a long time. And then after that, we had to get the envelopes, stuff the envelopes, get the address and mail them out to here, mail them out to there, then wait again for a response from a label or from a production company. And those of you, these other dinosaurs out here, y'all know, you remember these days I'm talking about. And so we're all waiting. Oh, what are we going to do? Did you get a word yet? Did Arista call? Did this other? No, nobody called. And then you get the call. And if some of us were lucky enough to get a deal, at that time, some of us may have known the understanding of music business versus getting a record deal, signing the contract. Here's a shitload of money, excuse the expression, y'all understand, or a little bit of money, but we're giving you some money, period. But we have to sell every single one of these that you all just made and we signed you to and took you back in to re-record it all so we could own the master. Now we're sending it out. So now every penny, before you make one penny, group, yeah, we got to make our money back. TC, in the new day of social media, of being able to do that freedom, brother, how do you feel of being an independent artist in this era? What are your thoughts of that?
So I think them days that you're talking about is most people like my age and in bands that are my age kind of look at them days as some sort of golden age of music and kind of like that's what it was so much better. But was it? Because really, if today I can be in touch with someone like you across the other side of the world, where would you have heard my music in 80s? You wouldn't have heard it. It was, we wouldn't have been having a conversation. That's right. Not only face to face on some little magic phone box computer thing. The things have changed. I mean, whatever you think about Spotify and their royalties and things like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Pretty terrible. But it means that you can reach millions of people all over the world. There is a lot of negatives, but I'd say there's more positives than anything else. You can be in charge of what you do, and it all be yours. And you can, if you put in the work. I mean, I'm not. I'm at the bottom. I'm just kind of starting out. 2 singles in. All right.
Oh, man.
I'm trying really, really hard not to get focused on numbers and things like that. How many followers you got, how many players you've got, all that. Because it's a slow game. You've got to be in it for the long run. And you've got to look, into 5 years down the line kind of thing, because that's how record labels look. They look at your longevity. They don't want a flash in the pan, because that's going to cost them money in the long run. They want these bands that are going to last a long time, and you've got to think of yourself as that, and you've got to be the label, and you've got to go, right, I'm going to sign myself to 10 songs, 10 or an album or whatever, and you've got to make your own plan. And if at the end of that it hasn't gone the way you wanted, well, you sign yourself again and keep going.
There you go, man. That's right.
That's the way. And I'd rather have 10 people that
Yeah.
my music has touched, or they really like it, rather than having 10,000 followers that never interact with me or don't. They're other side of the world. They can't come to a show.
That's right.
know,
That's right.
it's.
That's right.
So I'd rather the people that that show interest, no matter how many. One person liking a song that I've written is one more than I had playing it in my bedroom.
Come
So
on.
you got to put it out.
Come
That's all you
on,
can do.
TC. Hey, Indie Fam and Positivity Posse, y'all hear this. And I know you have your take on it. You dig? I know each of us as artists, and especially no matter if we're musicians or if we're visual artists, if we're poets, if we're whatever our artistic expression is, in this new day of exposure, as TC and I are talking about right now, you understand. It's a way that it can be done. It's different from the way it used to be done. In some ways, it's the same. But finding your lane, finding what works for you as an artist, and especially in the like TC just mentioned, he's in England. I'm here in North Carolina. We're talking and we're connecting as artists as far as his vision is concerned, and connecting it to what all of our visions are as an artist, independent, or maybe an artist that has the distribution deal, but still in the creativity mode of developing that work, developing what it is we want to give the world. And TC, I don't want to put you on the spot. You've been singing. Do you have anything acoustic? If not, we'll do another show and bring you back. I don't want to pressure you, brother. I don't want to pressure you.
I can. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it might be pretty rough.
Hey, brother. Hey, man.
So, right. Because
hey, Patricia Bolton, what's happening? Our OG Indie Fam series viewer, what's going on? Thank you for always being supportive. Oh, man. That's it.
I'll do you. I do like a couple of verses and a chorus or something, because it's hurting a little bit. This won't be great, by the way. And I'll do a song that I've never done acoustic before either. So this is probably going to be one that I release later on this year. And like I said, I've never done it acoustic, so it will be a bit rough.
Thank you, brother.
I'll just do a couple of verses or something.
Okay.
That's all right. Be sure. Own your mistakes, live your truth. A product of a broken home with nothing to lose. You can't run from yourself. You'll always be there. The end of the day, nobody cares. You gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. You can't be saved by nobody else. The darkest days have been gone. You gotta find out who you are and where you came from. The light will shine and the darkness will fade, and you will regret all the trouble you made. You gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. You won't be saved by nobody else.
You can't stop that, brother. You can't stop that. What a saint, man.
Yeah, so that's about saving yourself. I mean, you gotta. No one else will.
TC, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to give me a minute right there, brother. That right there, it was. See, that's that TC-ness I'm talking about. TC, I'll be honest, man. I know you're a producer, you do your thing, but if you put out a simple acoustic on that thing with a brother,
Yeah.
the words to that song are real. It's what we've been talking about. Look at the people lining up, storming. the fire going up, the whole thing, and this is, how does that make you feel, TC, to know that what you've created is touching people even as we speak right now?
Amazing. Like that is the main thing. We'd all like to be signed, and we'd all like the money that you think that these musicians get. But really, what's important is people liking it.
Yeah.
And if somebody does really love a song of mine, that's the best feeling in the world. It's unbelievable. And like playing in front of a crowd or whatever, and you get appreciated and they like you, that's the best feeling for us. We all want that accolade, don't we? That's why COVID was so bad. When you couldn't get on that stage and perform, all these musicians were lost. And it weren't because they were still getting royalties from the music, but they weren't getting the appreciation from the fans. And it's a good feeling, isn't it?
That's right, brother.
It's a big feeling.
Well, TC, Tim Cavanagh, thank you for taking your time to join us today, man, and giving your truth, giving your heart, your honesty, your artistry that you present through your music, man, is direct from the heart and soul. And that was evident today, brother. Especially with staying true to you, saving yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Got to be done. No one else will.
So tell us where we can follow before we go. You mentioned, we know here at Instagram, but it's Instagram and website, whatever. Just we want to know, how do we stay in touch with TC?
Yeah, so there's Facebook, TC and the Hoodoo Shakers. We've got website and Instagram. That's the main three for now. But yeah, get in touch if anybody wants to.
Yes.
Drop us a line. I'm here to
That's right.
share and stuff. Yeah, and I'll just say this before I forget myself. Mm-hmm. You are a star for what you do, for the little people, right? Mm-hmm. The kind of people that like I watched Lexi's interview earlier, and you saying, you call little Richard Uncle Richard, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
that's right.
He's one of my biggest heroes. Go and tell him, Mary. You cannot beat it, man. What a absolute legend, right? And people like him, right? And you're talking to us, and without people like you showing the support and doing what you do, we'd be lost. And I just appreciate you, man. It's amazing what you do. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, T. And you know what, man, as Uncle Rich used to say, he said, it's not better than, it's different than. You did? Right. So it's like, that's what I grew up with it's like, okay, numbers are cool, you're selling 1 million records, especially if you know how this music business is. There's a lot behind somebody selling 1 million records other than the song and the singer. But when you get an opportunity to sit down like we're talking right now, TC, and hear your truth, hear you as an artist about what you've done and what you're doing and what you're going to do, and that food that you're giving us to feed, it's just further, like Uncle Richard say, it's not better than, it's different than.
Exactly, yeah.
And what you've given us, brother, much respect to TC Tim Cavanagh, my new brother from another mother.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, man. Much love to you and your family. Keep on keeping on, brother. And I'm right here, man. All right, T.
Nice on. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You got it, man. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, was that what it was? I know you feel it. I know you feel it. It's the truth. It's the honesty. It's the artistry of the conversation. And, when you hear the music or you see that artistic expression after a conversation such as this, artists, it's there to remind us of who we are as artists. It's there to remind us what our mission is. Yeah, I'm going to say first to ourselves. Our mission as an artist is first to ourselves. Why? because it's up to us to know and love ourselves and our artistry to be able to mold that interpretation of either a song, a painting, a book, a culinary, a stand-up comedy routine. Whatever your artistic expression is, it starts here, believing and knowing and feeling what it is that you want to express to the world, and then packing that gift up and giving it to the world. That's what it's all about, y'all. Oh, much love and much respect to each and every one of you. Every time you take time to come and join us on Sundays, sometime, like I mentioned, if we're not here on a Sunday, it just means that life happened. But for the majority of the Sundays, we're going to be here with you at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock p.m. When you see those promos go up, we're going to be there with you, y'all. And we thank you, and love you, love you, love you. And like I always say, come on back and get some of this positivity on you. Take a bath in it. Take a shower in it. Scuba dive in it. Skinny dip in it if you want to. But just jump in that pool of positivity. And when you come out, sprinkle it on as many people as you can, because that's what it's all about. And we're going to see you next time on the Victor Brooks Show, Instagram, Indie Fam Series. Much love, Jen. See you, fam. Talk to y'all later. Peace.